Right then, welcome back, and today, oh yes, we're going to do a setup for this absolute lunatic of a motorcycle, the Yamaha MT-10. Now, I'm a big fan of these. I like the engine, I like the riding position, I like the fact that it doesn't give a shit. They are just absolute headbangers. What I'm not a massive fan of is the Johnny 5 is alive styling. Not for me, but beauty is in the eye of the beholder. What it is a very, very fast, very, very competent, very capable motorcycle. Not just for people who like 1000cc nutcases, but for everyone. So first off, we went to Laguna Seca, and well, you can see it generates quite large lean angles. Lorenzo-esque almost. Now, I mistakenly left the class for the 19 other riders on these races as the same category rather than automatic. I normally leave it on automatic so we get a mix of bikes, but what I ended up doing was leaving it on the same category. So everything's naked. I do apologise, not that there's anything wrong with nakeds, but I do apologise. Normal service will be resumed as soon as I get back on ride and fix the settings. But what we noticed is the front tyre was getting a little bit warm by the end of the 3 laps. So I did a normal 2 and 8 setup, as per we go everywhere, we do a 2 and 8 setup, and then we adjust as we go to races when we see where the energy is in the bike. On this occasion, there was a little bit too much energy in the front, so what I did after we left Laguna Seca is I added 1 click to the front spring, the front rebound, and the front compression. That's it. Everything else we left the same. And then we went to VIR South. Yes, medium tyres all round, and it was rather, well, busy. Quite a narrow track for 20 bikes hooning about, all trying to get to the same place. Quite a few goes at this, absolute carnage. How we did not fall off more, I'm not quite sure. The physics were obviously being very kind. Happened again at Kanto later on, but we'll cross that bridge when we get to it. We did eventually get away. We got a good start. I normally got the outside of the start at VIR South, but for some reason the inside line seemed to be the one that everyone was favouring. The AI were a little bit angry. There was a lot of bumping and barging, like I said. Got through to second quite quickly, and then what I was doing is missing braking points, and the bike was sliding about a bit. So if you're going to use the MT-10, just make sure that you're not leaving the braking points too late. It'll just, I mean, you could calm it down with a soft tyre, but then you might overheat it. It'll just slide about a little bit, and it'll take it and you can recover it, but you need to use quite a bit of rear brake and just make sure you're tapping the gas to get it all back into line. But we ended up in a ding-dong with Ducati Street Fighter V4. They were quick down the straights but poo around the corners, apart from the last bend. Look at the absolute attitude they've got around there. That is commitment. That is serious commitment. And then the Aprilia comes up the inside, so we're getting dive bomb left, right and centre. We did eventually get through. We thought I'd repay the favour and go around the outside into the chicane, which I thought was rather nice, if I do say so myself. But yeah, we've evened out the balance where the energy's going. The little tyre, the rear tyre was a little cold. Could probably drop down to a soft and it'll get a bit more heat in it. You could probably run a soft on the front if you wanted to, but I'm going for balance so everyone can have a starting point and then you can adjust it as you need to and for how you ride and everything else. So where do we go next? Well, I was struggling a bit and I didn't want to do the same tracks. And do I go here, there, everywhere? Not sure. And we ended up, in fact, before we go there, I ended up having a blast on the leaderboards. We did a 105.7 and that would have put us 5th. That was a hard front, soft rear. So there you go, that was 5th on an MT-10, batting way above its average on that leaderboard. I've since beaten it on a 2010 RSV4 Aprilia, so if you go and have a look, I've already beaten it, so I do apologise. But Valencia National, I mean, look at the wobbles the AI getting on, some serious bumping and barging. I wanted to go somewhere that was going to put loads of energy through the tyres. I normally go to UMC, it's getting a bit samey, so I thought I'd try somewhere else. Valencia's very, very good at putting energy through the tyres. That good that I ran a hard front just in case I was going to turn it into a big black sticky mess of rubber and it would be no use whatsoever. And the AI were fast. The Brutali, the Siri Oro or whatever 1000 and whatever cc new Brutalis, mega fast. Not Panigale, Street Fighter V4s, mega. I just could not get anywhere near. The Aprilia's quick as well, the 1100 Chirono. I just couldn't get anywhere near. I mean, look down the front straight, the gap is just growing and growing. I was losing probably 4 or 5 tenths down the straight every time, and The MT-10's not got the performance, it's only about 190, only 190 horsepower. But it's just not got the 200 odd horsepower that other bikes have got. I tried, I mean I was even cutting curbs and getting little bits of penalties here and there to try and get back with the leaders, but it didn't have a go. So yeah, it's a little bit down on power, but we'll talk about that when we come to the pros and cons. It was a good race, it was entertaining. I'm not a massive fan of the MT kit, I forgot to turn that option off as well, but it looked like a bit like a weird sort of renegade Star Trooper, I guess, but yeah, we digress. And I couldn't resist, I had to go to Alton Foster's, I just had to. And it was one of them races where it just went right straight away. Again, AI mega aggressive. What the MT-10 does really well, it's the brakes. It handles well, it's got good brakes. You just stick it around the outside of people, stick it on the inside, stick it where they want to be. Don't stick it in them without permission, that'll go straight to jail for that, so don't do that. But you can stick the bike where you want, mainly, and it handles really well. I mean, through Knickerbrook, up the hill, round the double left-hander, and it was just like, yeah, no problem, I'm just going to drive around the outside of the wheel. Really usable, really quick, handles well, moves about, slides, generates heat in the tyres. It will pull massive wheelies if you're not careful with the anti-wheelie and whatever, but yeah, just go steady, and it is a quick bike. We only did what? 55.5, which would have put us 21st. I didn't go back on the leaderboards, I didn't really feel the need. The Alton Foster's leaderboard's getting rather competitive at the minute at the top, so it's going to have to be quite a quick motorcycle to set a good time. But yeah, it was fun. And then onto the Japanese tracks. So, where did we go on the Japanese tracks? Again, still wasn't convinced the setup was right. Second guessing, triple guessing myself. So I thought I'll go to Tsukuba. Again on a hard front, soft rear. So we've got plenty of front end support and grip at the back. Small track for 20 motorcycles, this. Really small track. Again, properly congested. The quicker stuff down the back straight. Nah. Couldn't get drive. Again, when we come to the cons, I'll talk about it. It generates such a big lean angle that it just doesn't quite have the edge grip of something like a Tuono 1100 or the Street Fighter V4 or a KTM Super Duke. I'm assuming that when the bikes were figured, when they made the game, the Tuono, the Street Fighter and everything else were running probably a 200 section rear tyre, and the MT-10 was probably 180 or 190. You can just see when I'm getting on the gas, it's just starting to go off the end of the tyre and I can't drive forward. And ultimately that is what limited the lap time. I just could not generate the grip. It didn't have the edge grip to drive and keep up with the quicker bikes. But finished second. It's not about winning, it's about setting the bikes up. And then last one, yeah, you know where we went. We went on some fun at Kanto. How and what the physics were doing on this ride, and that his testicles are going to be sore for quite a long time after that. And the rest of the AI were just on it. Again, there's a massive, absolutely massive impact up through these corners. Like you've got the 90 degree-ish left coming up and then into the right, and we get absolutely body slammed by a bike. How we don't fall off, I'm not quite sure. So the Aprilia gets sideways, just checks us. I mean, I was all ready for restarting, and this game will fire you off sooner than look at you and end up in a low earth orbit going through leathers like you'd not believe, but for some reason it didn't happen. Brakes, very good in the wet, the bike's got loads of feel, you get plenty of feedback through the pad. The bikes are just quick, load of naked bikes altogether. See that slide again, just a bit past the braking point, and we're getting sliding. And then up the hill, it will boogie a little bit. I wasn't really trying, it's a bit snappy, feels like it's got a very short wheelbase. I suspect it's the centre of gravity is quite high. Lap 2, thought about sticking it up the inside of the second place rider, but again, I was just trying to show a wheel and scare him out. And when I say lack of top speed, lack of punch, down the straight by Mr. Aprilia, can I have some of your horsepower please? Again, through the bends we catch up, just because what the AI ultimately didn't. So around the outside on the brakes, and that's, I mean, it's a little bit wiggly on the brakes, but that set us up nicely. And it was going to be a really good race, bit of a ding-dong with a South African rider, and then they decided to spunk it and headbutt the barrier just there. Yeah, and that was the end of that. And that was that race finished. Off we went. Again, didn't have a go on the leaderboards, didn't really feel the need. I think it went 30th, so if it goes in the top 25, I might have a go on the leaderboard, something like that. But yeah, nice bike, quick. The noise is absolutely filthy. I will put a few races out as well. The noise is absolute dirt. And setup wise, that's where we're at. So a 2 and 8 apart from the front spring, which is on 9, everything else is on 5, graduate the gears, calibration's on aggressive. Pros and cons, it launches well, it does. I used anti-wheelie 1 throughout, even on the launchers I was using anti-wheelie 1. Didn't feel the need to knock it up to 2. It depends how you set it up and how you do the rider weights and bits and bobs, you might have to pop it up to 2. Squirt or scratch, you can brake a bit later and a bit harder, V the corner off, or you can brake a bit earlier, tap in, use the lean angle, carry speed through. It will actually do both. So depending on your mood and which side of the bed you've got out of, you can have a bit of a squirt or a bit of a scratch, and it's nimble. It turns very well, very, very well indeed. Cons, low top speeds, yeah, it's about as aerodynamic as the side of a house. So all that Johnny 5 appendages on the front, it's no good. It can be nervous. That's the downside of being nimble. If the bike's nimble, then sometimes you get nervous. If you hit a curb, sometimes catch a peg or an engine case on a curb as you're going through, it will unsettle it. And like I said, it struggles for rear edge grip. It's only the last like 5%. Again, it's right on the extreme of the bike when it's leant over and you're trying to get the throttle. You could stand it up and fire off the corner, but again, it's lacking a bit of power, so you're stuck in that no man's land between corner speed and point and square. And that's it. Good bike, great bike, one of my favourites. I'm probably going to do a lot more races on it, and I might develop the setup as we go, have a muck about with the preload, see if I can't just tweak it that little bit more just to give it the support it needs. And there you go. Thanks for watching. If you have a go on the bike, let me know. If you do any tweaks and twonks, you have a go on the leaderboards or whatever, again, let me know in the comments. And thanks for watching, subscribing. Plenty of subscribers again last week, loads more views, watchers. We're almost at 500, which is the first target for this year, to get to 500. We only need, I think we need 40 odd more, so we're getting there. We are absolutely 100% getting there. So thank you. You're absolute heroes. I appreciate every single one of you. And fingers crossed, I will see you next time. Take care, stay safe, peace.